career, 52 practical answers to your questions. I'm Erin Wolfram. I own and operate Career Advantage and Career Advantage Golf, where I help professionals feel more confident and prepared throughout their job search by helping with resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, mock interviews. I also help with personal websites and portfolios, so really just anything job search and personal brand related. But each week in this podcast, I answer one question from the public. And this week's question is, how much information is too much information when adding experience to your resume? So first, a couple of just like general rules. If you are an entry-level professional, so you have 0 to 5 years of experience, typically you're going to aim for a one-page resume. If you are a little bit farther along and you have more experience, so you're kind of at that mid-level, typically that's going to be more of a two-page resume. So 1 to 2 pages is recommended depending upon your experience and how many positions that you have held. So that is just kind of a general rule of thumb. But when you're actually thinking about what experiences to include and what experiences to exclude, then you need to think really in terms of relevance. So which opportunities are most relevant to that opportunity that you are trying to get? So the type of job that you are applying for, the actual position description of the job that you are applying for. So it's really important to read through the job description thoroughly and match your skills, strengths, experiences, qualifications, etc. with that job description. So you really want to tailor your content as much as possible to match the qualifications they are seeking in that job posting. So you really want to look at the required qualifications and the preferred qualifications, as well as any other information that gives you an idea of the types of skills and strengths that they are looking for in their new candidate or their new hire. So when thinking about relevance, the other thing that you want to think about is how long ago it was that you held different positions. So again, kind of a general rule is you want to keep your resume pretty current. So you don't want to include positions that are older than 15 to 20 years. Again, that could depend upon your experiences. If you've only held 2 positions, you may need to go back that 15 to 20 years, but I wouldn't recommend going beyond that. So you really want to think about your most recent experiences and how they directly apply, again, to your next job goal or your next career goal. Really think about the positions, and they don't have to match exactly as far as job title or even industry, but really think about what you accomplished within each of the positions that you've held. And if you have different things that you've accomplished, different skills that you've acquired, things like that, that are relevant and that do transfer to that new position, then it's likely that those opportunities are worthy of including on your resume. But if you have some positions that you held that aren't as related, they're just things that maybe you did during, some interim times, things like that, or as you were kind of trying to figure out what it was that you really want to do, then you probably could leave those off your resume because they're not going to be adding much value. Those experiences that are going to add value are those that are directly related to the position, or where you use skills that are transferable and or directly related to that position. So it's all about relevance, and if you can demonstrate in your resume statements, your accomplishment-based statements on your resume, as well as within, stories that you might tell in an interview, if you can demonstrate how those positions and the skills and strengths that you use within those positions can add value to this new organization and this new position, then yes, it is highly likely that you would want to include those opportunities on your resume. A few other things to think about is you may be assuming that I am just talking about, paid positions. Paid positions, of course, are very important on your resume. But of course, you can also think about other experiences such as, volunteer experience that you have, devoted time to, where you have used valuable skills that may be relevant or transferable. So think about volunteer experiences. If you are a new professional and you don't have a whole lot of experience yet, you can even think about projects that you completed in school where you use skills and accomplish things that are relevant to that new position. So you don't just have to think about paid opportunities when you're considering experience on your resume. But again, same as paid experiences, you want to think about relevance. One example where maybe you volunteered at an organization and the skills that you used maybe weren't that relevant to this new position, but for a fact that that new organization has an initiative where they give back to, certain organizations, and maybe one of those organizations has to do with, volunteering at an animal shelter. And that is something that you did, as a volunteer experience yourself, then again, there's some relevance there, right? Maybe the skills that you use volunteering at that animal shelter aren't relevant to the position that you're applying for, but just the fact that you share a similar passion of animal welfare as they do, then that proves relevance and indicates why you might include that on your resume. So those are a few quick tips on how to evaluate what is relevant, what is not relevant, and what you may or may not want to include the next time you develop your resume. But most importantly, you want to tailor that content to the specific position and aim for, one page of solid, relevant, related content if you are a new professional, and about 2 pages of that same type of content if you are a mid-level professional. So if you need help with your resume, of course, I'm always available to assist. You can learn more about Career Advantage and Career Advantage Golf at careeradvantageresumes.com or careeradvantagegolf.com. You can also find me on social media. I'm at Career Advantage Resumes on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And it's at Advantage Career on Twitter. Thank you all so much, and hope to see you next week.